Welcome to Redink Tutorials. In this video, I will show you the feature Discuss This, Inky. This is a chatbot, essentially, which you can use to elaborate, to have the AI elaborate on documents you have. It can be multiple documents to discuss matters with the chatbot and to analyze your knowledge documents or other content that you have. The difference to other chatbots is that this chatbot will always memorize the documents that you supply, so it doesn't forget them over time. And what is also special is you can choose the persona and a mission, so to speak. So you can much more control on how this discussion works, and it gives you a number of extra features. It runs within Word, and we can call it up through Discuss This Inky. This is how we call it up. And you will then have to basically select the persona. The first time you start it, you will be asked to select the persona. Here you can click on this button, and then we have a number of different personalities that you can have the chatbot take. This is important because it will impact the way how the chatbot responds to you. You can have the devil advocates, the litigation strategist, the study coach if you want to, lawyers. You can also define your own personas. This is all something you can amend and add if you want to. You have down here the edit local persona library. I will now choose the litigation strategist and click on this. You can also select a mission. A mission means some type of an additional instruction that you give to that persona, to the chatbot. For example, you can say you want to have a witness simulation, you want to have the chatbot always just respond with one paragraph or one sentence, and have different other types of things you want to include. Also, if you have a certain topic you want to circle it on, you can freely define this. I will now just take the only one paragraph action. And now comes the most important part, which is load the knowledge, because that's the cornerstone of Discuss This. It basically is the one or many documents you would add to the knowledge, to the current knowledge of the chatbot, because that's what then the chatbot will discuss with you. And I will load now a letter. The letter we have also seen in some other videos, which is about a complaint for someone with some airplane problems that have happened. And I will now load it. You have seen it into this by dragging and dropping the file. You can also load an entire directory of files with Words, PDFs, PowerPoints, Excels, etc. The main limitation is the capacity of your model. So if your model is a modern model, you can have million tokens as a context, basically. Not the full million, but close to. And a token is about 4 characters. So you can have a lot of documents in here, but it's at the end not Redink that sets the limit. It's your basically it's your model. And the more documents and more content you load, the slower the system will be. There is also a possibility to have documents compacted. So you can ask, for example, if you have a contract that you want to discuss and you have a lot of contracts and you only want to look at the employment parts, you could ask Redink to only take the employment related sections from the contract. I will show that afterwards briefly. Now I will just proceed because it has found this amount of characters in the document. It may ask you if it's a PDF to do OCR, if your model supports OCR. That's something that can be helpful if not all text can be extracted properly from the PDFs. PDFs are always a bit problematic because what you see is not necessarily exactly what the text is that is stored in it in a computer readable manner. but that's a separate topic we will also address in a separate video. So for now, we will just proceed and have this loaded. Now it's loaded in here, and I can now go and ask my counterpart, my chatbot, basically on what is this letter about, and what is our best strategy to respond. So because I've loaded now the litigation strategist, and it's about the dispute that may come, and now I have the one paragraph response. It's a long paragraph, and you will see basically what the litigation strategist suggests to me. So we'll not go now into these details, but you could go on now discussing and asking questions about, and that can be very powerful. So if you have, for example, a longer brief of a dispute in here, you can go and discuss strategies. If you are a corporate lawyer or in another area, you can go and load a number of documents in there and ask questions about the documents on how this is regulated or that is regulated. You could also go and basically ask certain tasks to be done, for example, certain drafting, how to respond to certain types of issues. I will show you now a few other aspects in here because this dispute that we're talking about here is about a flight ticket and a refund requested. I will now add an additional document to it, but first I will ask it be a bit more brief. In one sentence, how should we respond? Okay. Acknowledge their letter, state the matter is under internal review, and request all booking and payment documentation. Okay, that's so. But how well is our situation in the actual case? And let's see. Our position is strong, but not invulnerable, etc. And I will now give him some additional information. And to do so, I could now, I've clicked now on load documents. I could now drag and drop an additional document into the knowledge. So give somehow the AI more context. I have here a regulation on the topic that we're discussing here. I could also open a website. That's also something that is possible. And I could now simply go and pull this link into here. If I want to have this regulation also addressed, and it will then import the website. You see it now, it's now imported. Oh, it didn't work, so I will try again. And now it hopefully works. Okay, now it worked. Now we already have the letter in here, and now the system asks me whether I want to add on top of that this regulation. And I say add to existing, and it now has this additional regulation in here. I proceed, and now I have both in it. Because there is now a lot of text in there, and to avoid that I next time have to reload it again, it has automatically checked down here persist knowledge temporarily, which means it has made now a copy of this regulation and of my letter locally stored on my machine. So the next time I open Word and go in to discuss this, I can basically pull out all this knowledge that I've loaded, which is the letter and this regulation. So I can now close this. I don't need that anymore, and can ask now, and now in one sentence, what does this regulation help us? And now it comes back, and now you see it already responds and takes into account now the specific knowledge that you've added. And that's important because an AI will only be as good as the information you provide it to work with. So try to, if you want to have a good discussion about a certain topic, give the AI the necessary background information. Don't rely on what's stored in the model, so that you can uh, have a good basis for your interaction. You can go and manage the documents that you have. You see here is the letter that we've loaded. We also have the regulation in here. We could go and delete it and edit it. We could also, if it's too large, go and compact it and basically define, for example, if that would be a contract, we could go and say, okay, I just want to have the employment related clauses, for example. This will get rid of the rest of the stuff if you see that your AI takes too long to react or is confused because it's so much material. It depends a bit on the AI you have. I will now close this and show you some additional things you can do. You can go now and say, okay, now please draft me a short response letter on the merits. And then the AI will draft it. It still has the mission in it. That's why it will just respond in one paragraph. So the chatbot sticks to the request, and I can now have select this here and have this inserted to my document that is open in the back end. You still see it. So here. Or I could send it to a new document. I have it now inserted, and now this, what I've selected, is now in here, and I could use that. And if I hadn't told him to just use one paragraph, it would also be in different paragraphs. So that's something I could do here. I can also go, and if I want to continue with this discussion later on, I could go and ask it to be archived. If I just close it now, which I will now do, I can close it. Everything is saved automatically, and I go back to discuss this. Then it's here where I've left it. But if I want to have another discussion on another topic in between, I would go and click on archive, and there get the possibility to save it and to restore these conversations at a later time. So I can have several parallel discussions. I could also even go and ask the AI to have a discussion with itself. I could go and basically have it sort out uh, the whole matter. I could say, for example, I am not sure whether the proposed strategy is fine. Please sort it out and make me a recommendation. A controversial discussion. So you can ask the AI to actually challenge itself. And I can say, okay, I want this to go over 3 rounds. And now it will basically challenge itself. So that's another feature that you have. You could also go and select a different persona for that to happen. Now it's basically 2 litigation strategists discussing this and sorting this out. So that's something you can then look to. You could also actually discuss in real speech if you have the models installed with it. You could go and actually have a discussion and have the responses read to you if that's something you prefer. And now here you see that the whole discussion takes place about what is the best litigation strategy to respond to something like in that particular letter. Finally, you also have the possibility, we are not looking at that now, to do and ask the system to do some research Okay, I see now they have completed it. I could ask now for a summary to be done for me. Okay, I will let that be summarized. And this is what the summary is about. And okay, now there is a conclusion. I can take whatever I want from it. I could also switch to persona and have a different type of discussion. And as I mentioned before, I can also use this system to do certain research depending on what the topic is. I will talk about that later on in another video, but you also have access to all the agentic features that are available in Red Ink also through this one here. If you want to, as a last comment, want to include the active document, so if you have a document open in Word, then you could also click on here, then the chatbot will see actually your current Word document, so you don't have to pull it in here. Which concludes the Discuss This presentation. It's a wonderful feature to really get into topics, discuss this, find out what's in documents. I often use it, for example, if there is a large regulation and I need to understand what's going on and have questions about the document, to query the document, to find out more about it, to find out where certain things are written about certain topics, etc. And what's helpful there is that I can very easily drag and drop this, and that the chatbot doesn't forget what I've provided. Other chatbots often know when I immediately have uploaded some documents what the documents are about, but over time they lose their memory about that particular document. This is not the case here because this has been programmed differently. That's it, and I'm looking forward to the next video where I will present you some other features of Red Ink. Fun.